And the first criteria is that you want your niche to actually be getting searched for in the search engine. Because if nobody is actually typing your niche into Google, then no matter how good you are at getting your site to rank, you still won't get any traffic because nobody's even looking for your niche. So to make sure that people are in fact searching for your niche in the search engine, you want to use what is called a keyword tool. Now, if you're unfamiliar with keyword tools, they're very simple. They're just online tools that allow you to type in a word or phrase and see roughly how many times that word or phrase gets searched for in the search engine each month. So if I want to see how many people search for silly cats in Google every month, I will use a keyword tool to find out. Now there are a bunch of keyword tools out there, but the one that I recommend and use myself is called the Google Keyword Planner, and it's completely free to use. So to access the tool, first just head over to google.com/AdWords. Then create a free account if you haven't already got one. Then once you're logged in, head over to the Tools and Analysis section, and then click on the Keyword Planner link. Then once you're in the Keyword Planner, you can just type in whatever your niche idea is and hit the Get Ideas button, and it'll tell you roughly how many times that word or phrase gets searched for in Google each month. Plus, it'll also show you a bunch of other related terms as well as how many times they get searched too. So here's one of my sites that I've set up that targets the keyword mentalism, which is a type of magic that magicians do where they pretend like they can read people's minds. The site currently ranks in the top spots of Google for a whole bunch of mentalism related keywords, including mentalism, mentalism tricks, learn mentalism, mentalism books, and more. And all of these rankings result in thousands of visitors every day to the site, which means that tons of people click on my affiliate links, which means that I'm making tons of commissions round the clock from this simple site. But before I set up that site, you can bet your ass I Googled mentalism in the Google Keyword Planner tool to make sure that it was in fact getting searches. So I just typed in mentalism into the keyword tool, I hit Get Ideas, and then I saw that about 8,100 people each month search for mentalism in Google. I also looked at the related keywords to see what other mentalism related keywords people were searching for, and it's no coincidence that I have a page about each of these keywords on my site. So, exactly how many searches do you want your niche to get each month? Well, there's really no exact number to go for. But I know people love exact numbers so that they can follow this stuff to the T, and I get it. So, what I'll say is look for a niche that has no less than 1,000 searches a month and no more than 50,000 searches a month. And if this is your first site, then I recommend trying to stick below 15,000 searches a month, because generally the less searches a niche gets, the less competition there'll be in Google, and the easier it'll be for you to rank for that term. Which brings me to the second criteria that you should be looking for in your niche, and that is a niche that doesn't have a lot of competition in the search engine. So one of the things that I see a lot of newbies making is picking ridiculously competitive niches. And hell, I even made this mistake when I first started out too. And trust me, I know the deal. You see all of these ads all over the web for poker and forex and weight loss, and you think, well shit, that must be where the money's at. But
there are too many people doing it.
27 million results and page after page after page of high authority, well-established sites that have been around forever targeting this niche, and it's just completely saturated. It wasn't until I started to aim for niches with far less competition that I really started to get somewhere. In fact, one of my first big breaks was when I created a website to promote bongs and vaporizers and hookahs and all kinds of stuff that stoners would love. At the time, there was hardly anyone promoting that stuff, and I had a
Now everybody's doing it. So you got too much competition. Right. And then later on he tells you basically
random pages from other
they ain't gonna do you no good
sites
anyway.
ranking for that term.
I'll encourage
That's
you.
a very good
Gotta have
sign.
all these subscriptions.
Also, take a look at the number of results that turn up. So,
Gotta
if
have
there's
this,
only
gotta
1 or
have
2
that.
million or
No.
even less results, then that's a very good sign. It might sound like a lot, but it really isn't in the land of the internet. If your niche has hundreds of millions of results though, that's a pretty bad sign. So, if we go back to my mentalism site example, and we type in mentalism into Google to see what the competition is like, which I would have done before setting up this site, you can see that there's not a lot of results, with just over 1 million results turning up when I Google mentalism, but more importantly, there's a serious lack of sites about mentalism that turn up on the first few pages of Google. On page 1, there's a couple of Wikipedia articles about mentalism, there's a WikiHow article about mentalism, and there's even some random Facebook page turning up on page 1. The point is that not one of these sites is a single whole site dedicated to the topic of mentalism, which is why I had such an easy time ranking for it. These are the kinds of niches that you want to go for. Now, getting a sense of exactly how competitive a niche is something that you really get better at the more you do it. And it's almost more of an art than a science. You've just got to practice looking at niches and comparing them, and you'll soon develop a sense of how competitive a niche is by looking at the results that are in Google. Another thing I should mention is, even if there are a few quality results in the search engine, it doesn't mean that you should just cross that niche off the board completely. You can still rank for and make money from niches that have a few competitors. In fact, it's pretty unlikely that you'll ever find a niche with 0 competitors. The point is you just want to look for niches with little competition. The internet and the world is big enough for lots of people to make money from the same niche. So don't freak out if there's a couple of authority sites out there. Do freak out if there are thousands. And finally, the third criteria that you want to look for in your niche is a niche where people actually buy stuff. So don't set up a website about funny cat videos or free wallpapers, because hardly anyone's going to buy anything, and it's going to be super hard for you to actually make any decent money. Instead, choose something that's based around a specific product or niche where people actually buy stuff online. Rocket science, right? So